Alright, alright, alright. Hello, everyone. Long time no see. Hope you're doing well, wherever you are in the world, fellow Lord of the Ringers. Yeah, I haven't really been playing much Lord War of the Ring recently. I ran a marathon and had life stuff to do, and just got like very addicted to Slay the Spire and other games. But I was watching Ira's video yesterday, and I thought, you know what? I'll play a game of War of the Ring. Play a little game of War of the Ring. And hence I've made a video for you, which will hopefully be quite enjoyable. So this is a game I played, just a standard base ladder game against Lucky Ruds. So Lucky Ruds, I think I think Lucky Ruds when he first came on the server was called Noob Dolph the Grey or something like that. It was like a really funny name, but he changed it to a slightly less silly name to Lucky Ruds, and he's been very, very vocal in the venting channel, where I also occasionally have a rant. But he's really, really nice guy, and we had a really fun little game, good chat and stuff. So in this one, he was playing as the Free People, and I was playing as the Shadow. Honestly, this is probably like the second Shadow game I've played in about 2 months or 3 months or something like that. I've been on a run of playing as Free People, and I always seem to have. I mean, you know, you win the odd game just by War of the Ring being War of the Ring. But the games I lose, I just seem to have the worst corruption. Like, I just lose so many games to just horrendous runs of corruption. Anyway, I'll stop complaining. So this game I was playing a Shadow, which is, you know, my stronger side, I would say. And we bid, and he went for one token. He chose to play as Free People effectively. And I got Shadow Lengthens, Isildur's Bane. So not the best starting cards, but two strong cards. And he got Power to Great and Gwaihir. So again, a great card. Probably not the card you want to start with, but at least it's playable. And Gwaihir, good card, but yeah, not really an early game card unless you want to separate people. So anyway, Fellowship okay. We roll, and we get this. So two of the worst starting rolls I've probably ever seen, especially as a combination of the two. So yeah, we both say beautiful roll. We are amazing. So straight away he uses his token to draw. I was a little bit surprised at that, because I think I tend to like to save. Oh, and he used the token draw. He took the token draw token. Most people take the muster token. But yeah, if you're going to take, I guess I tend to save that for Cruel Weather. But in this instance, I suppose you want to see if you can get another playable card. Perhaps Power to Great is so useful in specific circumstances. You almost don't want to overplay your hand and play it too early. But then he draws into the last battle anyway, which isn't very useful. So that's unfortunate. I also draw a card. Because while I like the Shadow Lengthens, I'm not desperate to play it first turn. But I don't get anything else playable. So he plays Power to Great, might as well. Only playable card. Draws into Book of Mizarble. I play the Shadow Lengthens, which, to be fair, in this situation, while it's not the most ideal way to play it, it gets my military moving. And otherwise my military is going to be glacially slow. So I do doop doop, and then I do doop doop, which seemed to make the most sense. I did consider doing something over here, but since I don't have any leadership here, I would have had to have moved this and then gone to Moria, which didn't feel good. If I'd had an army die, I would have, moved him to Dimmeldale, done that, and then done that. Although having said that, I probably wouldn't, because once you see Power to Great, you don't want to go to Lorien anyway. So then he plays Gwaihir the Windlord, moves the Bobbit all the way over to here, and I'm like, oh, for God's sake, it's going to be, it's going to be either Fearfire Foes or Book of Mizarble. Draws into file. Crazy first round. So yeah, it's been a pretty wild start to the game, especially given how bad the actual the rolls were. I do a standard army move. He then plays Book of Mizarble. Gets the dwarves down. I move this army up, because now I'm thinking I'm going to be too slow. I'm going to be too slow to do any kind of pincer with the elves. power 2 greats on the board. I need this army to do something. I'm thinking I need to go Gondor. Because it's just going to be too slow to get this up here. Now the dwarves are at war as well. There's very little chance of me taking Erebor. So go up here, take Woodland Realm, use this as kind of a buffer to maybe take Dale and defend this from potential, dwarven nonsense. And then use this army to go to Gondor, take Gondor, and then get the rest of the victory points. Maybe Rohan, maybe some nonsense over here, depending on what cards I draw. But yeah, the plan is basically avoid the elves and dwarves and take everything else as much as I can. So he considers doing the standard kind of moves, but then decides instead to muster a big dwarf. And we go on to turn 2. I draw Cruel Weather, so fantastic card. Happy to see that. And Fighting Uruk-hai, which isn't really useful at this point. He draws House of the Stewards and Through a Day and a Night. Fairship, okay. And then I say, after the previous roll, I know that if I this is how War of the Ring works, right? If you roll a ton of eyes in the first round, and then they don't move, then you go, I won't put any eyes in this round. I need to catch up militarily. Then you roll 0 eyes, and then they roll like 4 movement, and then you're screwed again. But I'm like, okay, I need to get going. I'm going to take the gamble. I try 0. I do get the 1, and he gets 3 movements. So yeah, almost very close to what I predicted. So at least I got the 1. So File of Galadriel goes into the pool. He draws into Mithril Coat and Sting. Amazing card, bit too early. I move down Sauron because I want to get the Witch King this round. I basically got it because I've got 3 musters. I need to choose, choose your minion basically. And considering I want to basically take Woodland Realm before he can get any guys here, before he can play Thranduils, before perhaps he can muster the elves if he decided to do that next turn. I want to just get Woodland Realm taken, get the Witch King on the board, start cycling cards, and just get it, wipe it off the map. And it also, in case hypothetically the dwarves were to come and defend or something like that, it saves me that happening. He moves, he's safe. I get the Witch King. He moves again, he's safe. I move armies, hopeful that there'll be no Faramir's. I go for Woodland Realm. The elves go down. He moves again. This time he's hit, and it's a 1 reveal. He decides to kill Gandhi for the 1, which I think probably makes... I mean, you can gamble it. You can gamble and try and get Gandhi on the second tile. I think in his situation where he's had a slow start, you probably need to just kill Gandhi, and next turn just hope that you can get him. It'll be too slow otherwise. And then I draw an eye, so that sucks. But standard, it's what happens. So then I get Isengard down. I could have, I suppose, been more aggressive and just kept attacking, but you don't want to be in a position... I don't really like using hybrids to muster if I have the choice, but I don't want to be in a position where I only roll 1 muster next turn, so I think you have to do it. What just happened there? Okay, so that was that. So I didn't actually attack Woodland Realm. And then I drew into Grond and Day Without Dawn. So that Day Without Dawn could be handy if if I can get these down and he doesn't get Gandalf this turn. Maybe, it's very unlikely, but maybe I could stop him getting Gandalf. Rarely works like that. He gets Grimbeorn, gets the scouts. So that was why I'm handy to get this army in here quicker. And another blue tile. So we roll a pretty standard roll here. No character die, so looks like the Witch King's going to be staying here for a while. And then he rolls that. So on the surface, you think, ooh, you can move quite far with that. But I do find when I'm playing as as the free people, you don't really want to get all of your character dice at once. You kind of want a steady stream, ideally, maybe, especially in the early turns, maybe like 2 movement. This prevents you from it just leads you to have a more balanced game. You can slow down the shadow military a bit. You can play some cards. You can get your armies in the right places to defend. And moving 4 times like that doesn't always go that well. If you keep getting revealed, you're kind of using the C dice to hide when you might want to prefer to use dud dice like Palantirs, if they're not useful. And yeah, it doesn't always work out great. So we'll see. I mean, if you can just get 4 movement, then it's amazing. But will it work like that? That's the thing. So yeah, so he has to hide using 1. I get Saruman onto the board. He moves. He is missed. Then I decide to play Grond because I've got this Palantir. There's no other cards I really want to play. I did consider playing Isildur's Bane here, but the way I saw it was, I ideally, it only really pays off if I reveal him, and there's only 4 reveal because he's going to move anyway. So there's only 4 tiles actually reveal him. Because that's the main reason I want. I'm not so worried about corruption. I want to slow him down, and I want to get military going as much as possible. So I figure I'd rather focus on military, keep Isildur's Bane up my sleeve for later, maybe use it to slow him down when he's trying to get into Mordor, and then hopefully by that time there are fewer of these in the pool. Well, the 3s would be great for Isildur's Bane, but the main thing I'm thinking about is slowing him down. So anyway, that's my thinking there. I don't want to use Rage of the Dunlendings for the card effect. I want to keep David Edon, and because it's such a small army, I don't really like the idea of playing Relentless Assault anyway. I want to keep Cruel Weather. I want to keep Isildur's Bane. So I decided to just play the Onslaught to cycle cards more than anything. I'm unlikely to actually use it. It's a strong card, but I don't see myself attacking in here anytime soon, so I'd rather just cycle cards. Get 2 hits, which is great. He gets none back, so that's unfortunate. I decide to not Onslaught. I draw into a New Powers Rising, so that's again a great card. Don't want to play it. He plays Confusion. I play no card. He gets 1 from Confusion, and then a second hit. Then 3rd round of Grond. I just need 1 hit. And I get the hit on the reroll. So thank goodness for that. That would have been a real pain otherwise. But yeah, and he gets no hits back. So that went absolutely great for me overall. He moves the Fellowship again. This time they are hit. I get 2 hits, draw a 2. He takes the Corruption. I start getting the South runs down. He moves the Fellowship again, as you would. I get hit. I hit again. This time I draw a 3. So getting some good corruption damage there. 5 corruption damage. But the issue is I'm not getting any reveals because you really want to get that second. You want to get that reveal out of Mordor to get the second tile. So a little bit unlucky, but I mean, it was what? Like it was coin toss twice in a row. So yeah, it's not horrendously unlucky, but slightly unfortunate to not get a tile there. Reveal tile. So Legolas goes. So then I move the south ones down. So again, I don't really like using these to muster, but my thinking was I need to activate the south Rons for multiple reasons, because I want to take Mordor in one fell swoop. So I want to get these guys. I've got these 2 army dice. I don't want to attack in here yet, because I want to ideally do 1 mega attack into Gondor, so I can get Dol Amroth under siege before it gets mustered, basically. So I want to activate these, ready this army, get this army over, because I need the South ones to be at war so I can get them to take Dale. So, and what else am I going to do with the army moves? If I'm not attacking, then these are basically the only moves I can do. 1, 2, 3, and 4. There's nowhere else on the board I would really use an army move. So I felt like it made sense. And also, it activates A Day Without Dawn. So since he hasn't rolled that will, which is unfortunate for him, it does put pressure on him to use his Will of the West quickly next turn. Or if he rolls a bunch of wills next turn, I can kill some. Anyway, so yeah, that was my thinking there. So I do the army moves. I'm just going to take a quick toilet break. Pause. 1 sec. Okay, where were we? All right. So we go on to the next turn. I draw Pits of Mordor. So a nice card to use when I attack one of these. And Balrog of Moria, which, yeah, a little bit too late there. And Rudd's has a break because he had some food delivered, but he draws I Will Go Alone and Path of the Woses. So yeah, let's see how this goes. Somebody had for dinner. He said he had tuna salad with bread, and I was like, dude, who gets tuna salad delivered? But it turns out he also had pizza, so I'm guessing he had 2 dinners. But anyway, so he decides to wisely declare. And we go on to turn number 4. So he's, after that horrendous first turn, the Fellowship has made quite remarkable progress in the following 2 turns. So 5 movement is pretty great for 2 turns worth of movement. So a solid position for the Fellowship. Military's going okay. Not fast, not super slow. So he gets his will, also gets some good movement, and so finally he can get Gandhi. Yeah, so I was. I mean, he arrives precisely when he all right, thanks, Gandhi. I knew that he would do it first turn, but there was just a small part of me. Maybe he'll pass for some weird reason, but obviously he didn't. So then I need to have a think here. What am I going to do? Got lots of attacks. So the real blessing I have here is that he hasn't got any musters. So my plan here is to get Minas Tirith under siege, get Dol Amroth under siege, and what did I decide to do with? And then also, because he's got lots of movement, I think I want to play Isildur's Bane, perhaps, to try and just slow him down a bit, because I don't want him getting against one eye. I'd rather that he doesn't get two moves. I'd rather he has to use one of these, ideally, to hide. So first things first, I move Nazgul around and get one, importantly, on the Fellowship as well. He moves. I miss, almost. Now I place Isildur's Bane. I get the 0 reveal. So not the best, but at least it's not an eye. And it is getting out one of the best tiles for the Mordor track. So not great, but not awful. And it does slow him down. So now he has to decide if he wants to hide. Presumably, do you hide and then move again? Give you a better chance of Mordor? Or do you want to use these dice to defend somehow? So I go Osgiliath from Witch King. I'd rather this doesn't get any more defended. So I decide to play a card. The only one that I really want to play as a card. Also, I just want to cycle cards as well. It's a Desperate Battle. So I play Desperate Battle. Get my hits. And he gets 2 hits back, which is good. So yeah, getting close to Minas Tirith. So this is a really interesting play he does here. So I just assumed that he would be making a dash for try and get into Mordor next turn. Because, I mean, to be fair, with 5 dice, he's got a solid chance regardless. But he would have to get 1, 2, 3 movement. So he needs 3 movement and hide. So instead, what he does is he plays I Will Go Alone. Gets Boromir and a Hobbit into Minas Tirith. And heals 1 corruption. Which especially makes sense because he's holding House of the Stewards. So not only is he bolstering Minas Tirith with some leadership and a Captain of the West, he's also bringing in a really nice mustering card, which also then allows him to draw 2 strategy cards. So at the time, I was kind of like not unhappy to see this, because I was thinking, okay, well, the blessing is it slows down the Fellowship. knowing that I've got Cruel Weather, that might actually buy me 2 more turns after this turn before he can get into Mordor, because he'd need to have a really good turn. If he doesn't have a really good turn next turn, then maybe I can Cruel Weather him the turn after. So I was thinking, okay, so that's going to slow down Minas Tirith, but it buys me a lot of time for the military. If you look at it from his point of view, given how awkward the roll was, I don't think he's rolled a muster in like 2 turns. There's a danger that he just gets steamrolled here, you know. I've already taken Woodland Realm. I can easily take Dale. If I get 1, 2, 3, 4, then I'm up to 7. And then all I've got to do is take Rohan, which isn't particularly well defended, to finish the game. So he's got the dwarves. He's got like kind of a backup. You know, he can use the dwarves to try and take back this to cause some mischief. But he does need to slow me down as well. Corruption isn't really an issue yet. So I do think I think in previous games I've had a tendency when playing as 3 people to just sprint. Don't worry about anything else. But when you do that, you're kind of putting yourself in the hands of fate when it comes to basically does the shadow roll average. If the shadow rolls average and you even have 1 slightly bad tile in Mordor, it can just lose you the game. Because Shadow has more dice, Shadow can just kind of steamroll you. And he hasn't had any muster cards yet to really help him out. So, so let's see how this works out. So I put Minas Tirith under siege. He plays House of the Sherwoods, which is really nice. Draws into Wisdom of Elrond and Swords and Eriador. I go for Pelegrin, no card. He plays Confusion. Doesn't get any. Confusion doesn't work. He asked me to re-roll, but I don't know why. Anyway, so take Pelegrin, that's fine. Which leaves me 2 dice to get Dol Amroth under siege, and muster something. So so I do that. So move this army up, get Dol Amroth under siege, and then since I've got this muster and I've got almost a full hand of quite good cards, I want to start activating the Rohan to take Helm's Deep. Got this spare die. Maybe this was a mistake. Maybe I should have just mustered and kept this up my sleeve, because as soon as you play a New Powers Rising, that instantly puts the alarm bell. The alarm bells start ringing for the 3 people. Like, shit, I got to defend this now. So maybe I should have kept my cards a little bit closer to my chest. I must have, but then that means I'm probably going to have to discard like potentially quite a strong card next turn, which I don't want to do. So I think it's a fine play. I think it makes sense. And he says, "Oh no." So we go into turn 5. He draws an end card and Imrahil of Dol Amroth. So that's really annoying timing for me. So that's lucky for him. And I draw Red Tile and Olokai, which is good for this situation. If you do need to get some reinforcements, Olokai is great. So I roll this, and then he rolls this. So definitely not getting into Mordor this turn. But he does have a lot of opportunities to do some defensive stuff. So yes, he's on my OMG. So I'm obviously happy to see that, because for me, I'm thinking the way he's going to win the game, it's going to be hard for him to defend regardless. So him being slow gives me a great chance. I don't have a lot of attacks though, which is a little bit tricky. So he decides to prioritize defending Rohan. See, in my mind, I don't think that a Shadow is likely to attack with this army straight away. Because in my mind, when you attack with an army this small to try and take Helm's Deep, that's often when it backfires. Because it's not a very big army, and it leaves you, it can very often leave you very vulnerable. If you take everyone out, then you can get Ents and lose Saruman. And if this even does they have 1 Ent card to defend, 2 Ent cards, it can just go terribly, and then Rohan can defend, and Rohan is activated, and you're just in a complete shitstorm. So when he does this, I assume it means he hasn't got any higher priority things to do, i.e. play Círdan ships or play Imrahil of Dalamroth. So I overthink it, and as you'll see here, oh, you don't see it. I literally wrote the letters DA. I put the die down, the C die down. I wrote DA in the chat because I was thinking, let's take this down before he can muster it. Because I don't think, but then I start thinking to myself, he probably would have played that as a priority. So what I will do instead, because now he's got all these musters, Pelargir is just sat there, Lossanac is open. I need to move armies in here anyway. So what I'll do is I'll just nip this in the bud and make sure he can't muster here, because that's a great mustering spot for this situation. Just to waste my time, maybe start building up an army. If I can't take it, he can then move to Pelargir. So yeah, and I haven't got many attacks this round, so it would have wasted a lot of my time, bought him time. So I think I'll do that. I'll do that first. And then he plays Imrahil, and I'm like, oh, you idiot. Oh, you absolute idiot. Because my natural instinct, like if I'd been a less experienced player, if I hadn't overthought it, I would have just attacked Dol Amroth. But because I'm trying to be clever and trying to overthink it, I do this and get hit with a mustering card. So yeah, FFS. And he says, yeah, I saw you attack, but he thought he would have played it first. So anyway, so now suddenly this is a much, much more tricky thing. It's got 2 more HP and it's got a leader, and I don't want to use a C die to move leadership over and move them back because that's slow. So I just want to kind of grind it down. And the other thing is I've got monsters roused. But then I'm not going to be able to cycle cards because I don't have the Witch King here. So it's really, I think I could have taken this down in 1 die if I just attacked it straight away. Odds are, especially with a desperate battle. Yeah, let's see how this would have gone. So he would have played this Daylight. I would have played the desperate battle. And I would have got 2 hits. So we would have been down to 1 HP, most likely. And then you just grind. All you've got to do is then get like 1 hit on, what would it be? 5, so 12 die. 5 plus the 1 reroll. So yeah, you're going to probably, it's like a very, very high chance of getting a 6 and that, you know. So instead, I press, I don't have a card because I'm not cycling. I don't get a hit. I decide to stop because it's getting a bit dodgy now. It's getting a bit dodgy. He's got 3 there. He can start hurting me. I've got these Palantir. So I'll get Olokai, get 1 in there, and then try and finish it off. Maybe even draw a card if I can be bothered. Let's see what I do. So now, yeah, he naturally finishes his Rohan protection. I play Olokai. He flips the Fellowship. Now I attack Dol Amroth. I get the hit. So that's the hit that would have taken Dol Amroth down, you know, in theory. He gets 1 back. I press no card. I'm trying to save my cards here. I don't want to play one of these Relentless Assaults unless I really have to. So I'm just hoping I get 2 hits. I get none. I press now. I decide to gamble and play A Day Without Dawn. So I'm saving the Rage of the Dunlendings to attack Rohan. But I need to stop wasting dice on Dol Amroth. Also, I'm worried if he draws into like Círdan ships next turn, it could really, really screw me. So I really want to just get this done. So it's a small gamble, but I think 6 dice. I've got to get 2 5s. Yeah, so I get a great roll. So of course now I didn't even need the Relentless Assault. But anyway. I think that was needed to be done, really. So, okay, so that's the thing there. That mistake, what it's done is cost me effectively, 2-3 more dice and 2 cards. It's cost me an Olokai and it's cost me a Relentless Assault and it's cost me Day Without Dawn. So, all because of that one, like, overthink. He moves the Fellowship. I hit, draw 1. So, yeah, no reveal. How's that pool looking? So yeah, so in the movement I've had the eye was useless, the 1 reveal, the 0 reveal from Isildur's Bane. All of his other hits have all been just fine. Then I play Rage to start readying these armies to start doing a big charge. I did consider the 4 cities as an option, just to give me an extra out. But, you know, dwarves are at war. These can defend. What if this goes sour? I could really use the extra men. He has got quite a big army there now, so I'm going to need as many men as I can get, really. He could have strong end cards, which he does. Yeah, so I decide to not overthink it this time and just go for this. We go into turn 6. I draw Warm with Sorrow and Toil and Horde from the east, which I'll probably use as a Deadly Strife. He draws There Is Another Way, which will be really handy, and Faramir's Rangers a bit too late. I played a couple of really interesting friendly games against Galahad a few months ago, and one thing that he really mentioned, and if you ever watch Galahad's videos, which are very, very, very good, naturally he's one of the best players, one thing that he often talks about focusing on is when trying to calculate how many turns your opponent is away from Mordor, and kind of thinking, okay, so the opponent's got say they're 2 turns away from Mordor, and then you probably get through the track in 2.5 turns, I believe is the average. So that's how much time I need to win the game, ideally in 4 turns in that sense. So here I'm thinking, okay, so he's got 1-2 turns to get into Mordor, maybe 1 turn to get into Mordor, or 2 if Cruel Weather works out, plus another. Then I've got to win within 4 turns. On that basis, it's looking good. I've got a massive army here. I've got reinforcements. I've just got to take this, and then I've got to finish off Minas Tirith, and I've just got to get 1 city, and then I should be able to win the game. So yeah, either Edoras or Dale. So I'm feeling pretty good. So he again, so unbeknownst to him, he's got really unlucky here. So naturally he moves straight away, doesn't get hit, but then I play the Cruel Weather, which means he can't get into Mordor this turn. And then he says, this is probably game over. And I say, yeah, that's rough, because that is really unlucky for him. And looking at the board right now, it looks like it's going to be unless these guys hold out or something goes horribly wrong, it's going to be a relatively simple victory. And yeah, I just say it's really hard when you get all the character dice at once. Like if we look at the stats right now, let's see what they're like. So overall, pretty balanced. Shadows had slightly more Palantirs. I'm down on 6s, sorry, which isn't good, and up on 5. But I don't think the 5s have really done anything. You know, if you get those 5s, I mean, I guess I got some of them when I played Relentless Assault, but I also rolled 6s that time, so that was kind of useless. Had a lot of 5s that have missed the hunt when, you know, I've rolled 5s when the hunt's been on 6s. His dice are just pretty standard overall. So yeah, pretty even game really. But yeah, but the timing of his C's has been, it's been feast and famine. He's either had all the character dice at once or none. I draw Corsairs again, so great card, great to have 2 Deadly Strifes, but not quite when when you want it, but still can't complain. So I go for Minas Tirith, and I've got these Deadly Strifes, so that's why. So yeah, I want to play a Deadly Strife and I know it's going to hurt me back, but I've got reinforcements. So I just want to just get this down. And also I don't have anything else to play anyway, so it makes sense. But then he goes and plays Blade of Westerness, which is a ballsy as fuck move. So fair play, Lucky Ruds, or Lucky Rudes, I don't know how you pronounce it. So he plays Blade of Westerness. And of course, if there's ever a time to play Blade of Westerness, it's going to be against Deadly Strife, because that basically guarantees you, unless you get 5 hits on your combat roll, it means you're very, very likely to kill the Witch King, because he just has to roll a single 3 on his leadership reroll, and he's going to kill the Witch King. And I say, oh, nice. And then, yeah, so what a combination. Witch King dead. Well, I'm not sure. So, yeah, so I get 1 hit. Brilliant. And then 2 hits. So I get 3 hits, which is below average. You'd hope for more than that. I don't know what the average is, but you'd hope for at least 4, I think. And then he gets the full 5, and then he gets the... So I was actually, hoping that he'd just get, 3s and above. I'd happily take the 5 hits to preserve the Witch King. But anyway, so he kills the Witch King, which is massive. So I lose a die, lose the leadership, and crucially, lose the ability to card cycle. So yeah, I actually draw a card then, and then he informed me that once switching said you lose the card psych ability, so I returned the card. That card would have been a what should we call it? A Devilry of Orthanc as well. So it would have been really handy for taking this down. So that's the kind of thing, So that play, okay, he's played Mithril Coat and Sting, which is a super useful card for Mordor, but he needs to survive this game, right? He's put the Hobbit in there. He's got that up his sleeve. The pool is not terrible. So I think, I think it's the type of play in this situation as 3 people. It's a gamble probably worth making. So yeah, I accidentally undid when I undid the taking the cards. So anyway, so I start my belated assault on the Rohirrim. He starts getting down. So I do this purposefully slowly. I want him to try and because he started moving them down. Ideally, I want to attack with the last die of the turn so that it pushes pressure on him to push himself to war, rather than allowing him to get a muster in, maybe in Edoras with that die. I want him to use that die somewhere else, where it's less useful. So I put a red tile in, he puts a blue tile in, tile trade-off. I start mustering some Nazgul, because I'm going to need some Nazgul to make sure that I have leadership here. He just musters an elite into line. So I did actually consider I might actually just mustering here, because is there a chance that he could do some military shenanigans? I think this army's too far away, but in theory, if he got a crazy roll, he could just go on a rampage and try and do Dol Guldur and Moria. But then my thinking was, if he does that, I think I can just get to 10. I can race him and get to 10 because he's going to leave this open. And I don't think he can take Moria and Dol Guldur with this army. So I just decide to instead just attack Helm's Deep and get that done. So we move on to turn 7. I draw a red tile and Stormcrow, Great Host, which could be useful. And he gets another end card, which is good timing. Very good timing to get that second end draw. So that's pretty good. I mean, there's 3 end cards and he's got 2 of them within the first, 9 cards. So that's pretty good. And very good timing. So he has had some good card luck in terms of timing. Getting the Imrit of Delamroth just in time, getting an end cards just as I'm about to attack into, and which one is it? Ent's Rage. So adds 2 dice. And that's, I think that's the strongest one, probably. So so you're drawing the best end cards just as you're about to defend Helm's Deep. So anyway, he's getting into Mordor this turn, certainly getting into Mordor this turn. So now again, it's like, if I'd had that bloody Day Without Dawn, which I would have had, then maybe I would have played the Relentless Assault instead of the Deadly Strife. Maybe you played a Relentless Assault first, and because I had a big army there with reinforcements, and then you save the Deadly Strife to finish it off, then maybe that doesn't kill them. So the knock-on effects of what happened in Dol Amroth are really big. Because I think I would have used that Relentless Assault here and saved the Deadly Strife, because you want to use the Deadly Strife ideally when your opponent hasn't got such a strong army, because then there's less chance of them doing the damage back to you. So I think that has had a big effect. So he moves the Fellowship. I miss. I move the Nazgul around. I put 1 on him just because I'm hoping to get a hit and ideally reveal into Mordor, so that I can get a couple of cheap tiles. He moves, but I miss. So that's annoying, because I think if the pool, those 6 have been there for a long time. Those 6 reveals. So anyway, what did I do there? Vorzweisen moves from Osgiliath to Minas. So I move these armies around from here to fill up this one, and I think I just had a token guy just to move down, just in case, as a backup. He starts mustering. I attack Helm's Deep. So here, I decide not to play a card. So you might disagree with my logic here, but my thinking was, this is still quite hard. I don't have any reinforcements for this army that I can easily get. So it's going to be very expensive, time intensive to get muster, move, reinforce. That will suck. So I'd rather save my Deadly Strife for here and instead try and whittle it down and then try and finish it off with the Great Host. And then also by attacking this first, I can see, because I've got these 2 musters, I can see whether I need to muster here to then reinforce it. So by attacking it, I can go, okay, what am I going to do with the rest of my muster dice? Because if I attack here first, then I suppose I could have attacked here and just used the Deadly Strife. But then the inclination might be to muster. I don't know. Anyway, so I think it made sense in my mind at least. So I do no card. Then I'm up against Bloody End's Rage, but I do roll 2 6s, which is a bit lucky. But he gets 4 hits back. So yeah, pretty terrible dice roll, but still good enough given it's such a strong card, rolling on 3s. So yeah, the 3s that he's rolled have got hits in both of these. So I decide to press. I stop, actually. I stop because, again, I'm in danger of having to reinforce. So I'd rather have improved my chance of taking it out in one fell swoop. And also, by using another die, it means that I don't have to downgrade, which means I'm more likely for Great Host to work. So, again, I don't play a card. He plays Sworn Dark. I get 1 hit. He gets 2 hits back. So I changed my reinforcements around the way I did it to give myself a maximum chance of getting Great Host. So I'm going to have 5. So basically, I need to get 1 hit. 1 hit to make Great Host work. Play Great Host, and I get no hits. So that really hurts. Maybe I should have saved the Great Host. Could have gone pressed again and then used Great Host. But then, is the Great Host even going to work? So that hurt a lot. Not getting a single 6 there. He only gets 1 back. But I'm now at the point where, because he's going to obviously use these to start mustering up, I'm getting to the stage where I could feasibly take this, but leave it very open to being retaken. So rather than pressing it down, I decide to stop. So again, I'm being quite cautious here because I think I have time. And you've seen it all happen 1,000 times before, right? When this goes sour, maybe the Rohan can charge in and retake it, and then you've got a huge issue on your hands. Or maybe even they can sort it out, and then you have to start from scratch. So I'm thinking okay, this is a bit slower, but I think I should have time to comfortably reinforce, finish it off, and get over the line. So yeah, just the end cards, the lack of honestly, killing the Witch King made such a big effect, because just not having that cycle. If I'd played the Deadly Strife, then got the Diary of Orthanc, then got another cycle from playing the other Deadly Strife, or playing whatever, just that cycling ability is so useful. And the muster I did here to get I could have used the muster elsewhere instead of having to get extra Nazgul. So yeah, so I start using these to muster up some more elites. He keeps mustering here, and I start moving them down to try and reinforce this army. And that also means that, I can defend it, and I can also potentially consider taking Edoras if I need to. Because obviously there's no guarantee that this will hold here as well. So I might need to get an extra point somewhere. So I draw a red tile and another Great Host. And he draws another blue tile and a red arrow. So they go into Mordor. And he plays the red arrow. So I think this is a small misplay on his part. Whenever I'm in Mordor, I've learned this the hard way. If there's no reason not to move, just move. Because if you don't, your opponent could put in a red tile. Which I do. then he moves, and then he hits the red tile. So that sucks for him. That's really unlucky. I've literally just put in the red tile. He hits it, takes his corruption up only by 1. But crucially, it slows him down a lot. And we have a little chat about it, saying it always feels like Java's kind of broken when that happens. It just doesn't feel right for some reason. The human brain's just like, no, must be cheating. Java must be cheating. And apparently, he says that Yorick, what he does is he shuffles, and I'm like, how do you shuffle in this game? So apparently, he just like takes a blue tile. I don't know why this keeps flipping down. Anyway. So yeah, he puts a blue tile in. Anyway, so I then decide to attack here. So he actually plays there is another way. I suppose at this point he doesn't really worry about the healing, but I think I would much prefer to play, I think, a shield wall before the heroic, because there is another way can potentially win you the game. Although I suppose in his way, by Minister of Holding will win him the game. So maybe, swings and roundabouts. Yeah, something's busted with this. Anyway, so yeah, sorry, I don't know what's going on. It keeps skipping away. So anyway, so I attacked into Minas Tirith. I got 5 hits. And then he got 5 hits back, so we got maximum thing. He takes the Boromir hit, so he does survive, which means that I have to press, which I do, and then I play Great Host, which finished off. So yeah, I mean, I think that kind of shows that he didn't know I had another Deadly Strife, but I think I would have held on to There Is Another Way, because that's such a game winning, because it means you can move on a Palantir. Suppose he's got 3 wing rings, so maybe it's not worth it. But if you have one of those apocalyptic turns where you roll like Palantirs and bullshit, he could move with a Palantir and then move with a ring. And that's 2 free movement and even a heal when he gets the Golem, which he will at some point. So yeah, I think I would have held on to that and just played one of the shield walls personally. Anyway, so what happens next? I move armies in. So I just want to bolster up this army a little bit more. Just in case. I've got a spare movement, so I move in here, I've got the spare movement, I just decide to do that. I then get the mouth in, because that means I can use another muster to attack this turn. He hides the Fellowship. What do I do? I attack Helm's Deep, no card again. I've got no cards at this point, I've got no Palantirs to draw cards, so I'm just going to have to raw dog it and just go do it. Without any support. What's he got? He's got shield. So he's got shield walls and a sudden strike. So I get no hits. Oh no, that's an old one. Apologies for this, people. I don't know what's going on. So I get 1 hit, and he gets 1 hit, and I decide to press a no card, and I get no hits and no hits on the reroll. So this is going really well. This is going really nicely. Thanks, game. So I press no cards. So again, this is starting to get dwindled. Maybe I should have kept the Great Hosts for here, actually. And just tried to finish this one off naturally. Although he would have played the shield wall probably. I get no hits again. He gets another hit on me. So I have to stop. So this has gone horribly, basically. Like when I attacked initially, I didn't have cards. He had all the Ent cards. The Great Host missed. I've reinforced it. I've still got 1 hit in 3 rounds of combat. At this point, I am -6 on 6s. The 5s haven't come at the right times, really. So this is starting to hurt. The context of when you get these really can be crucial. The 5s not coming at the right times has really been irritating. He he moves the Fellowship, gets hit with a 2. Goes for random, gets Strider. So at least Strider's gone. And then with my final thing is I decide to... What do I do with that? I decide to attack Dale in case next turn he decides to get in there first, because I don't want him to have the jump on me. I want to get in there so that I'm defending this. So I attack Dale, I don't play a card, and I get my hit, and he gets no hits. He gets 1 hit back. So on that turn, I could have won the game. I think... I suppose I wasn't in a huge rush, because maybe you just dwindle this down and keep pressing. But again, without any cards, I'm in the exact same quandary I was in the previous turn, except now this is even bigger. So if this goes down to 1 guy, he can just go blip, blip, and then he retakes it. You need to have something in there to defend against this army, because it's only... I mean, he needs 3 dice to do it. But having said that, if I do it, he can't attack it this turn, and then all I had to do is hold this against that. So maybe I was being... Again, it was a calculated gamble on my part, thinking I've got 1 more turn, because that's probably going to be able to take this regardless. And then if he can take back Helm's Deep at all, he's going to win the game, basically, because it's going to waste so much of my time. If this, say this went down to like 1 guy, he's able to get that over here and take it back. That's going to buy him enough time to get over the line. So I was thinking, prioritize just finishing it off with a reasonable army left to defend you from this. And then next turn, get this army here to defend from this, so that you can win the game in like a stable condition, rather than gambling on finishing this and this holding. I mean, what are the odds of that hold? I mean, the fact that I didn't have any cards, if he attacks that into that, plays 2 shield walls and a sudden strike, you probably take Dale. But next turn it would also leave him vulnerable to either a retake of Erebor or taking Dale back with this army. So maybe, what do you think? Should I have just gone for glory and just pressed this to high hell and then taken that and just won the game? Like, maybe that was just me being too cautious and taking like luxuries I didn't have. But yeah, I mean, I could have pressed this down quite a lot. I only needed 2 6s, but I did do 3 rounds of combat and I didn't get a fucking hit. So I don't know. I'm still thinking I've got time. He's very, very unlikely to win. He's, you know, he'd need to have a perfect roll. I don't see him winning next turn. So he moves, he hits a 3, and then so no reveal, annoyingly. Again, I could get a red tile, but yeah, so many reveals in there. Anyway. So yeah, so I say, I think I miscalculated. I'm starting to realize, you know, am I just being too cautious here? Have I made a terrible error? So I get another Deadly Strife and a Lidless Eye. So Deadly Strifes are coming thick and fast. I'm getting quite a way through the deck at this point. And he draws Help Unlooked For, or No Quarter more likely, and Sudden Strike. I think I had an extra muster that I didn't play at the end of last turn. He lets me play it, put one in here. So that's just a silly mistake on my part. I roll, get a decent enough roll. He doesn't get the movement to win the game. So I'm like, okay, great. I can do it now. I can get over the line here. All I've got to do, I've got the Deadly Strife to finish off this. I've got the army movements to get everything in place. He moves. It's File. So I was kind of hoping, okay, there is a world in which corruption can become an issue here. Saying that for that one, he gets a, I don't know, even just like an eye, takes him up to here, has to hide. The next step he gets something. Then suddenly, you know, I could play the Lidless Eye. I could make it so eyes kill him. But the File basically kills the corruption game. That just ends it. He's gonna, if he can get to the end, corruption will not be an issue. So now my main thoughts are bolstering this before he attacks. So if I can get leadership here, that massively increases my chance of holding Dale. And he keeps mustering here. And I'm thinking he's going to go for a last-ditch assault and go attack, attack, and then try and take this stronghold. Hence, I want to get extra leadership in there, if possible. But then I can also use this to move these armies here to support that, if I need to. So what do? I also move these armies in here, because I also calculate that his other best chance of surviving is to attack into here and try and stop me from getting to the full 10, by taking back Dale. But if I move everything in here, he can theoretically go 1, 2, 3, but then I can then retort by either attacking him in Withered Heath, or by moving an army into Erebor when he vacates it, and then taking Erebor back when he attacks Woodland Realm, which has the same outcome, so it balances out anyway. So I thought that was quite a clever way of circumventing the issue. Protecting this, making this untakeable, and also giving him the decision to make about whether he goes for Woodland Realm. What do I do next? So I presume he passed. I go for Helm's Deep, play Deadly Strife, and finally finish off the that stupid stronghold, which finally goes down. He gets one hit back, and so now I'm thinking, okay, that's great. That should hold. That should hold. And what do I do there? I draw a strategy card. And then he plays the Eagle Eyes of you may have noticed that this whole time he had Path of the Woses. What a good play. And to be honest, I should have seen it coming. I should have seen it coming a mile off, because he's been building this army forever, not moved it anywhere. And yeah, I mean, and the irony is I've just vacated all the bloody leadership all the way up to here to defend something that doesn't need defending. So, like, maybe I should have seen this coming. I mean, I should have seen it coming. And ironically, I'd actually moved a guy out of Lossanac. And I had all these spare single movements, so I could have definitely, you know, if I'd left the guy in Lossanac, I could have done one army movement to go to Osgiliath and Druiden Forest. It hadn't really occurred to me that he would actually be able to retake Minas Tirith, because this army gradually built bigger and bigger. I was more thinking, okay, he could go into Minas, you know, go to Osgiliath and charge into empty Mordor. But then my thinking was, if he does that, I can race him again and beat him to 10 victory points. But I hadn't really considered the fact that he could just go here and just take back MT. So he plays War of the Roses, goes to there. I think in some desperation, I thought, oh, maybe I can somehow, you know, get the cities back and protect Pelagia, and maybe that'll be enough. And obviously, if you can count, you know, you will realize that is not possible. That's not how the game works, and I would still be one short. So then he uses his other die to go into Minas Tirith. I use the Mouse ability to defend Pelagia and take Baxenarm on 11 victory points. And then he attacks with his final die, potentially of the game, well, not the game, of the turn, to try and take back Minas Tirith. So the game is buggy. If anyone knows why this happens, I don't know why it keeps skipping up and down. Anyway, so he plays no quarter. From my body language, you can probably tell what's happening. He gets 2 hits. I think I get like maybe 1 back. He plays Shield Wall. I get maybe like 1 hit. He plays Sudden Strike. It misses, but he finishes me off. And he's got me back down to 9 victory points. And I muster in Umbar because, you know, I'm thinking I might have to defend Pelagia if somehow, you know, he doesn't win this turn. And then he gets Devon of Dunharrow, gets a Daylight, and rolls this. So yeah, just what you need to get you over the line. I'm thinking, okay, he moves. What tile do we get? A 0. Yep. So again, I was thinking maybe, just maybe, if he'd hit the red. Let's have a look at the hunt tool. So if it hit like, if it hit the red, that could have been crucial there. If it got a 3, 1, 2, 3, then there would be 3 eyes in there. 1, 2, 3. Then I could have played, yeah, so if it hit a 3, I could have then played the Lidless Eye, and then there would have been 6 in there. So he would have been on 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Although I think he could have just revealed, hidden again, using the. But it might, I'm kind of clutching at straws here. There is a world where I can play Lidasai and gives me a tiny glint of hope. I put a red tile in there again just to give me that tiny glint of hope. But I think by that point, and he draws 9, he wins the game. So yeah, I mean, I have to just give credit to Lucky Ruds there. That was a great play, really, really good play. And I think part of the I mean, yeah, I've only got myself to blame here. So one was not seeing the possibility of that, not thinking, oh, he could have. So either leaving some leadership in there. When I had Deadly Strife, I didn't need to send the extra Nazgul into Helm's Deep. I was going to take it back with the forces I had there, I think. So I think that was overkill. I could have left some leadership here as a kind of a contingency plan. Not that his army took much pain, but that can make a big difference. Activate certain cards. I mean, I drew the Day of Terrible too late, so that wouldn't have been useful. But that leadership, one big re-roll, 3, 4, 5s. Suddenly, he can't take Minas Tirith back. So that was one big mistake. Another big mistake was not just seeing it coming and just getting a guy into Druiden Forest and Osgiliath. I think I've never lost a game to Path of the Woes before. So I think that's why, I've defended from it countless times. I've done what you should do in so many games, and it's one of those things where you don't notice how important it is, because if you do that, your opponent can't play Path of the Woes, so it never hits you. So then one day you get lazy, and maybe because the army was so close that I was like, he could just march there. So I was a little bit blind to it, because it's effectively only one movement difference. But that one movement is what made him capable of doing it. And if you do it like this way, you broadcast it, which gives me time to defend it. So yeah, I could have got the mouth there instead if I'd moved the mouth. Yeah, but again, I was thinking so much about this. Preoccupied in other things. I mean, it was a game of like moments. I think the Witch King Gambit completely paid off for him. That probably won him the game, even though it slowed him down on the hunt. The trade-off was so big. It's amazing how crucial that card cycling ability is for the Shadow. If you take away that card cycling ability, it hurts you so much. And then I just happened to not have the right cards and then drawing the Ent card and the Dol Amroth. The Dol Amroth thing, that probably cost me the game as well. If I'd just attacked Dol Amroth, I would have had the Relentless Assault to attack here. Maybe the Witching doesn't die. The knock-on effect is just it's like a dominoes. So yeah, but fair fucks to Lucky Ruds, who played a really good game. And I think overall my strategy was sound. I think I targeted the right places. I think I did the right things on like a macro level. It was just the little micro decisions, the slight dice order usage, not defending from Path of the Woes that cost me in the end, and a little bit of bad luck from the dice. I mean, he had bad luck as well, but that did hurt me this game. Sometimes you have -6 of Shadow, but because of the cards and the timings, it doesn't mean anything. You can just steamroller with Shadow when you play Deadly Strife and you roll a load of 4s and they all hit and bloody blah. But in this game, not the 6 is not coming. Just Helm's Deep was just a meat grinder. But it's one of those games where I can't blame the luck too much. It was my fault that I lost this game, and I've learned from it. So yeah, thanks, and please let me know your thoughts. If you think there's any other big mistakes I made or decisions I could have done differently or whatever, let me know. Probably not just finishing off Helm's Deep and putting the onus on him to retake Dale. I think that's probably a big mistake, but I explained my logic, so I do think there was some logic to what I did. But anyway, I'm not bitter at all, not not in the slightest. It's all fine. Definitely not bitter. But yeah, thanks for watching. Love you. Bye.